based on Indian requirement as well as exports requirement.
Right, right. You have put it very rightly in the right context. Um, Now I just wanted to move away from technical and manufacturing to the your other passion, that is entrepreneurship, development, and training. So sometimes we hear some people say that okay, okay, आप लोगों ने whatever you done, the youngsters don't want to hear anything from them. They are too smart, they are too fast. Is it the case? What is your personal experience? You have been interacting with lots of them.
See, I think we must acknowledge that this generation
Mhm.
is ahead of us in many, many ways.
True,
Uh,
very true.
their starting point itself was very, very different.
Mm,
Uh, I mean, to put it in a very crude way, they don't have to remember because they
mm.
have Google, so they can access anything and anything. So they don't need to bother themselves by loading their mind with इस चीज को याद रखना है उसको नहीं रखना है. So
True,
they
true,
free their mind to apply themselves to far more creative areas.
true.
So one has to give them this, that they are far more, uh, I would say, knowledgeable.
Mm,
They are far more productive than we were at our point in time,
mm.
or at their age we were still getting to know most, and they start that they already know. They don't even have to bother about even thinking about that. But at the same time, and of course this is based on my personal experience and that is my strong personal view,
Mm.
there is no substitute for experience,
True, true, very
and there
true.
is no substitute for everything needs a certain time process. For example, a child needs nine months from conception to delivery.
Mm.
You can't, I mean, you shorten it to 3 or 4 months, you will have a premature baby and you have to take care of that baby far more than if the baby would have come, a full-time baby would have come. So similarly, with the current generation, where they need help and where they need support is in terms of experience, all those things which come experientially. I think
Mhm.
those are the areas where they need support, where they need to be held. Their hand holding has to be done. Management of human beings, management of processes, patience, uh, ability to relate with one another. I think all these are areas which the current generation needs help. And my advice to most of these entrepreneurs, most of the youngsters, is that when you set up your organization, identify an experienced person whom you trust, whom you believe, whom you respect, and make that person your mentor or coach. And let him be around you while you are building your organization, while you are building your business, and listen to that person.
Mhm.
Rest of the things, product development, etc.,
Yeah, they
were
can, they
good.
can.
Use your strength areas, but use those the other strength areas where you are by and large weak. So this is where the current situation is. And I mean, it is not to be judgmental. You look at any of the Indian startup businesses. Classical example, Byju's. It's there in
Mhm.
front of you. The everything was right, the product was right, they were doing it everything, but just because the person probably didn't have the experience and maturity to look at business on a long-term basis. Everything was required immediately, quickly, 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 and you
Yeah.
land up into a situation where you just blow up everything. There are so
This
many other small-term businesses.
then this is a very telling example of one. You know, I'm always curious because I mean, you and me never went for any kind of coaching,
Of course.
Rather, we try to, coach some other, our colleagues, and, sometimes in mathematics, sometimes in physics, and sometimes other. I mean, Jaipur has a coaching hub. The
Correct. Kota.
government
Kota
has
is
built
also in many
a
places.
enormous campus for thousands of. I mean, that way they are accepting the failure of primary education structure, basically in the higher education and middle level education. And Baiju, came into, utilize that space, faster learning, and obsession of the Indian middle class to go into IITs and civil services. That is because the quota is full of, and then the the sad thing is there's so many, young girls and boys are committing suicides and all that.
Suicide. Yeah.
But why is your example? I'm expanding too fast, like an explosion. So they could not sustain it. They had best of, advisors from top of the business, but maybe there was no mechanism to consult them. And the guy went on with his own steam and landed up where he is today.
Yeah. So, I mean, inexperience is one. Of course, it is a major element. But I think there is also this element of integrity and ethics and values,
Of course,
which also come into play.
that is there. That is there. Yeah.
Uh, and all this is intermixed. If I want to be seen as the fastest growing or the person who has become the most successful in the shortest possible of time, then you bend yourself in backward, forward, sideways, and compromise on anything and everything. And Byju's, what you are coming to hear now is that the way rules have been flouted, the money has been taken off, uh, and so it is uh, experience is one element which is a major one, but at the same time it is the integrity, it is the values, it is the ethics, and that's where what you mentioned earlier, we have it has been the failure of the society, not just the primary education.
Yes,
It has
society,
been the failure
of
of the
course.
society
Hmm.
to maintain or to instill the traditional ethical and moral values which all of us were brought up with. The current generation seems to have lost out.
The kind of, glorification of so-called super achievers, I mean, they excel in everything. They never, have less than 98 to 97% of marks. They always stood first, and they are blah 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 everything. And the kind of, you or me are aware that so many of our, children of our colleagues and friends and relatives have gone to. They were very bright. They ended up in IITs, and some of them, after being out of IIT, getting a very, very good job, they committed suicide.
Correct, correct.
And those people, the friends, were, I mean, they could not comprehend that what happened. Because these people were prime mover, a support for their kids, and their kids
Correct.
did extremely well in academics and then in getting a job. But there was some kind of a disconnect. And this disconnect has gone into, some people say, अरे यार आप लोग और हमारे क्या experience का नए बच्चों को जरूरत ही नहीं है, they don't need us. So here, a person with a very passionate, involvement in entrepreneurship. So I just curious to know that the interpersonal relations, I mean, these, to be known and nurtured. You can't get them from googling or all that. That's some kind of orientation is needed. There are more divorces, there are more splits, there are more tension, there are more divergence. So many things to look at. I have your take on that.
See, there are fundamental changes which has come in our lives,
Mhm.
which, without realizing, are
Mhm.
bringing about personality and capability level changes in human beings. Say, for example, banking. Earlier,
Yes.
at our time, if we had to draw money or we had to deposit money, we had to go to the bank, stand in the queue, wait for
Yeah.
our turn, and
Yeah.
then interact with the person on the counter, give him the check, take back the money, etc., etc. Now you have online banking. There is no interaction which is taking place. So if I have not got exposed to interactive processes, how do you expect me to develop those social skills? Same is the case with shopping. When
Yes.
earlier, most of the shopping we used to go to the market, talk to the customer, talk to the shopkeeper, then say he would say something, we would say something. Then there was an interactive process, and then finally the deal was concluded. And we used to
Mhm.
buy and give money and come back. Now you go online, you order, and the thing gets delivered through Zomato or Amazon or whoever it is. There is no interaction which is taking place. So if ultimately we are leading to a situation where people are incapable of social interaction because they don't have opportunities and occasions to do social interaction. How will you develop that skill? And these are the societal personality changes which are impacting our ethics, integrity. All these things are a follow of that.
Very, very right, and very, very, you summed it up with all these, linkages, interpersonal, technology oriented, and fast paced life, lack of interaction with other human beings, and there are so many things to be learned. So it
Absolutely.
always been a great pleasure having you talk about these complex subjects which have been, you have first hand experience on. So thank you very much for sharing your valuable insight and experience. We'll be back again to talk to you on related societal subjects or technology related subject. So once again, I thank you very much and welcome to Batchit
Thanks a
with
lot.
Sri. Talk
Thank you
again.
so much, Madhav. Really
Thank you.
enjoyed talking.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Bye. So we talked to well-known engineer, manager, entrepreneur, and mentor and social worker, Mr. Rakesh Jinsi, who is has a degree, a graduate degree in electrical engineering from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, and we happened to be this batchmate, and he had a personal hands-on experience in manufacturing, marketing, product development, mentorship, and also the social work. So we hope that you like this conversation. We'll be back again with some interesting and engaging subject with an expert. And we hope you have liked it. So please share the link with your friends and relatives, and we'll be back sometime again with an interesting personality and subject. Thank you very much.